peace and wholeness, beautiful rebels. I hope that you are doing exceptionally well. Remember to stay safe and mindful as always. So I just wanted to do a quick video follow-up on why I shared those videos in Black History Month, which we should start calling it Black Awareness Month. Or Black Acknowledgement Month, not Black Awareness, Black Acknowledgement Month. I wanted to expand on that a bit further because there was a pattern that was being made clear to me, and it was funny because it kept irking me. It kept coming up, but I couldn't figure out why it was coming up. Why is it coming up? What am I supposed to be doing with this? And because it was made aware to me, it's like, okay, what do I do with this? And I needed to expand on it. So it popped up, but then it came off. I feel like it came off a little cryptic. So I just wanted to go ahead and reiterate that right now, and this has been something that's been going on for I don't know how long. We've already, as women, we have to fight for the men to see us. I can see and tell that there's this sort of like disdain within the black community where you have it where the men and women are really at a standstill. They're really like uncertain of whether we can fully rely on one another or not, outside of those of us who are occupying the healing spaces within the communities. And it's disheartening because not everyone operates within those spaces, right? You have it where people are very much, they prefer like blue collar, white collar living. They don't have that mentality or desire to operate in those spaces, but then yet we are still, at some point or another we cross paths. And that is why it's good to go ahead and to dive into those things, because also without properly healing and looking at the genetics and the breaking down of our mental, our emotional genetics, the actual emotional DNA that we carry today, which has been so altered from way back, we cannot believe wholeheartedly that we can sustain relationships with anyone. I don't care who it is, because they have to do the work themselves. That's just like with the Caucasians way back when, who they have some sort of connection, some sort of lineage tie to the people who are actually inflicting these things. You don't think that there's some sort of issue with them that they were dealing with at that time, that didn't cause some sort of mental deterioration or anything like that. And it did. And the only reason why I'm able to actually follow up and can expand on that a bit more is because I've actually had conversations with others who were like, they're either apologizing or making it very clear that they were ignorant to the fact, or those who are actually obviously aware to the fact, but then they take pride in the fact that, oh yeah, that my ancestors did this, that, and the third, and they're proud of that. It's like, what can you do with that? There's nothing you can do with that outside of, okay, at least you're aware. I know to stay away from you as an individual because you're going to do this, that, and the third. Whereas those who are actually needing the information and the ability to help and have that balance of understanding, just as you would as an individual, it will rewrite your DNA. And that also goes, and when I say DNA, I don't necessarily mean your actual genetic makeup, although if you actually listen to the video when I was expanding on it, that meant your body stores things like a memory bank. So if you're experiencing trauma after trauma after trauma, if you're having baby after baby after baby, if you're doing all these crazy things, your body, you're experiencing all of these things. Your body is a storing vessel. It's actual. It's plugged in here in the 3D. So it's literally picking up all of these experiences you're having and it's storing it for you. And if you're not able to actually adjust and rewire whatever it is that's going on, it's just being transferred into whatever else you're doing that you're avoiding, if that makes sense. So, because I'm talking a bit fast, I just didn't want to make it didn't want to take too long, but to give you guys just a bit of a vulnerability and understanding of this is because I never thought that I would have a reason to actually share my personal life on here. But what kind of helped me to develop this pattern just a bit is the fact that I, at a very young age was told to be with someone. There's like circumstances where it ended up being that I, should go ahead and be with this person. I got with this person and, thinking one way, trusting this person with my mind and my body and my emotional, or my spirit, I want to say, because at the end of the day, when you're trusting your partner, when you are getting involved with someone, you are therefore signing over a compromise. Regardless if you want to acknowledge it or not, you're automatically, the minute you get overly involved with someone in a certain way, it could be friends, family, whatever, I'm saying all relationships, you are automatically signing on to be a leveling of this person's energy and their experience and what have you. So offering myself and giving this person these, these liberties within my sphere, eventually it got taken advantage of, to where then eventually there's emotional, mental, physical, say, all those things were going on throughout the expansion of the relationship, to where at the end of the day I had no desire. Like once I got free of it, alhamdulillah, I got free of it. And once I got free of it, I sort of like heartened up a bit, but I also was able to kind of like still sort of have like this, I don't know, I was occupying space differently, of course. And it's interesting because it started like you never know what's going to happen next. You have no idea what's going to happen next. So some years down the line, I ended up needing, or I'm going to flip that. My children's father ended up needing some support. He had got injured really, really badly and had no one to turn to, right? Like he had no one else to turn to. I was like the only person around available at that time. So I went on ahead and jumped in. I didn't question it. I didn't deny it. I just said, you know what, I got you. It's fine. And this is just to kind of give you guys a bit of a context of where I'm coming from with this emotional intelligence series, but also to help you to understand the dynamics in which we really should be operating whenever you're engaging with anyone, because we're muddying up the actual humanity within the human experience, to where you're blinding yourself to what's actually most important within these connections, right? So he has like actual wounds, you guys. He has actual issues where he's unable to walk and all of these things. And I had to go ahead and cater to this person. Now, mind you, this person has hurt me. I don't feel safe with this person, even like to this day. I don't really. We're in a good place. I don't put too much thought or anything into it. It's like, you're this person. If I got, whatever it comes down to when it comes to A, B, C, D, that's what we'll discuss. But I don't take it any further than what it needs to. There's very, very clear boundaries there. And with that whole experience, I couldn't tell you what helped me to get through. And it's funny because anytime I've ever shared this story, or anyone who actually knows me and what I was doing in that moment, they'd be like, well, how did you do that? Like, that couldn't have been me. And it was funny because thinking of it now, I literally thought of that scene or that meme that's going around again, like the Christina, like off of, it was one of those Medea movies where that came from. It was I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, it's just making me think of that. And now, like, I didn't think of that then, but thinking of it now, it's like, whoa, like, it could have really if I could have done that, I could have behaved like that. But having such an emotional resolve, I just went in there and got to work. Like, I'm a healer. I would rather make sure that a person's, taken care of before wishing ill upon them or anything like that. And again, we forget, or we don't hold it in value enough, that that's the real purpose of our existence here, is to genuinely be present with one another, to actually assist and heal one another, to actually pour into one another. And the many ways we might do it, right? So I still, like, even now, the only thing I could think of that helped me to really genuinely get through that, and that could be a little bit of a cheat code for anyone else, is that my daughter, she had some complications when she was younger. And I had to make sure that I was very present with her during those times and things like that, to where sometimes I could feel the light energy that I was, whatever those moments were, whenever it was time to tend to her, we like, cleaning her and all of those things, I could feel sometimes, like, just even thinking back on it now, I could feel the nurturing in those moments. I could feel the, like, light coming up off in those moments, pouring into her to help her to get, to be at her best. And that ranged from even just feedings and things like that. It just, I don't know. Thinking of it now, it's like, it's sort of nostalgic that I'm grateful that I was able to get her through that. But that's also what helped me to help him get through. Not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people have the stomach to actually tend to flesh wounds and things of that nature. So you got to really look at what you're investing in when you're connecting with people, because there's not going to be too many who can actually handle things like that. Like, they may like look pretty on your arm, but can they actually be of value to you when it's going to count most? And that's something that I feel like we should look at, because again, you have it in the Black community where that's what we literally, we prime and boasting up and putting all this, the 2 on the 10 when it comes to material. And yet this person, while they might look good on paper, they're luscious, they're delicious on paper, but then their 5D experience is not matching yours. And then you're overly pouring into this person energetically, while they're not offering or expanding anything in the 3D. There's an off balance there, an imbalance there, sorry, that we really have to take care of as a people. The only way to do that again is to go into healing. You have to go into, and I don't want to say specifically healing, because healing looks different for everyone. Of course, there's a baseline experience, but there could be different areas where, okay, like, well, one minute I felt like talking about my issues. Now I'm at a point now where all I want to do is work out to help my issues and things of that nature. So there's going to be different layers and levels to your healing experience. It's just a matter of how you approach it, right? And so, because I kind of like jumped off of that whole experience with my children's father, because again, I don't want to overly offer my personal life like that. I just wanted to give you guys a context of where I'm coming from, the mentality that's coming at you with these emotional intelligence series, what's coming at you with the idea of having Black women, black men take the time to heal one another, take the time to actually occupy and hold space with one another. I'm not talking about healers, because healers are doing that already. We don't have, no one got to tell them nothing. They already know it's like that. And a lot of times there's a lot of healers who are already so much imbalanced where now they're becoming wealthy because they've been pouring in the work. But then you have it where there's these people who are on the higher end of the spectrum, and listening to the conversations that are being had is it's a little discouraging, because you have it where there's these people where you love hearing what they got to say, right? Like, you can genuinely appreciate what it is they have to say as leaders within the Black community, but then they'll say something, it's like, well, do you actually, you gotta think like, dang, like so then what do you actually hold at value? Because you may or may not know, this person might appear like they might not have it all to you, but then they actually do. You really don't know. And it's like, we got to give each other the chance and the space to actually cultivate these larger connections, to be able to actually progress forward in hopes of pouring into others. Because I personally, and I don't know if anyone is noticing this or caught on to it, but I don't like the idea of having a Black man or Black woman get all hyped up and riled up and excited about the next person, but then they're over here degrading Black men and women. Like, that don't fly. Now, it's one thing if you just genuinely, you feel like you're really, really solid in who you are, you're stable in who you are, and you're able to go and pour into those other people that you praise and worthy, hold so high and worthy, while still deeming and respecting and holding at value your own. You see what I'm saying? And that's one thing that we have to really nip in the bud. Because now the younger generations are doing it. You have it where the only way someone as dark as me, my skin tone, the only way that I'm going to be praised or prioritized or held at value is either if I got money, if I got a fat butt, if my body's stacked right. They're not thinking about the actual, like, oh, could she help me organize my books if needed? Could she, when I say books, I mean like the financial stuff. Or could she build a home for me? If I bought a house right now, could she make it a home? Could she be a mother to my children? Does she got a heavy backstory to where she's too mentally screwed off? A lot of the younger generation are not worried about that, and that's because of how we continue to allow this pattern of degradation and separation to continue to flood our communities growing up. And you can look at it how you want. You could come. I want people to talk about, like, let's go. Like, what are we I don't want to just sit here. Like, what are we doing to actually fix this so that we can mend whatever ills and negatives that we might be holding space in between us, so that we can continue to grow? Because those things are only there between us because of the actual hardships we face from many, 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 many generations. And I just think it's high time we really acknowledge it. And especially, again, those who are higher up, those who are well better off. Take the time to really pay attention to what it is you're saying and doing. I'm not telling you to allow anyone to mooch up off of you. I'm not telling anyone to not have safe and steady boundaries within your connections. That's an absolute must in any setting, because you can have someone else who actually has money, but because they're money hungry, they come and want to steal your bank too. That's a very real thing. It's just you have to actually focus on what's going to help the longevity in cultivating something that much greater for our people. Because if we can't help ourselves, why would anyone else want to? Why would anyone else want to pour into the value we're not giving ourselves? And ourselves, that means nurturing and protecting the matriarch, nurturing and protecting and honoring the patriarch within our communities first, in whatever way that looks like. We have to be able to actually honor the masculine males within our community for what they are, for what they can hold and bring to the table, and not necessarily in what they can bring physically, but just what they can bring into as who they are. Just like a girl gets to sit up and think she can sit pretty and be cute, and that's all she needs for a guy to keep her. No. A man should be able to feel just as much, if not more so, welcome by just being present, by just being able to offer his ingenuity and intelligence without any real heavy obligations and things like that. But we're going to dive into this stuff a lot further. I just wanted to go ahead and put this out there real quick because I felt like I needed to explain it in a bit more detail. So I hope that this kind of adds a little bit more balance to what I shared before. If you have not checked out those videos, please do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because we are a growing tribe over here and we need all the love and support that you can offer. And so, yeah, I will see you all very, very soon on this.